June 2014, Wagertalk joined Twitter. August 2014, Prez loaded the first ever picks at Wagertalk. September 2014, Marco D'Angelo and Gianni the Greek filmed the first ever video for Wagertalk TV. Fast forward to today, and we now have over 58,000 Twitter followers, 110,000 subscribers on YouTube, and have become the premier brand in sports betting. So thank you. We truly appreciate everyone who has supported this amazing journey. And on Thursday, January 19th, at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, all daily picks packages that day will be priced at $11, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $35. And all one day all access normally priced at $39 will be cut in half and priced at only $19. No coupons will be needed. All handicappers at both Wagertalk and Sports Memo are included in Customer Appreciation Day. And discounts will go live at midnight Wednesday, January 18th.
Hey guys, welcome into Wagertalk TV. It is Thursday, January 19th, and this is Puck Time. We are happy to be here. I am Andrew McInnis, of course, with Bryan, Leonard, and Andy Lang here. A great lineup of guys to break down the NHL in lots of different ways. 4 good games to break down. I say that quite a bit, but really today, guys, we've got 4 rock-solid games. I'm happy about yesterday's results. Hit the best bets. Hit my client play with Colorado team total, and I also cashed in on a shots on goal prop with JT Miller over on his shots on goal. And well, when you have a team like Vancouver playing so poorly, it goes to show with the prop betting market, there's still a way to find a good thing about them. And I guess the shots on goal prop was something good about Vancouver last night. But Bryan, you've had an outstanding season in the NHL. Yesterday was a really, really big slate. Do you have any takes or any thoughts from last night in the NHL?
Yeah, it was one of those days where I liked a few things and then I didn't. And I liked the Islanders, then they changed the goalie, so it kept me off of that loss. And then unfortunately, Colorado had a key player missing, kept me off of that game. So it's the things we like in the day don't necessarily mean we're going to play them at night, but we got to go with the information we've got. And I ended up passing yesterday for clients, but I do have a nice 3-pack up for today, and I may add another one later.
Awesome. Yeah, it is a sneaky good card, not as jam-packed, as it really seemed yesterday. Even though it was smaller, there was a lot of kind of little situational spots, but lots of different things to look at here, Andy, for today in the NHL. A big slate means lots of opportunities in the prop betting market as well. How are things with you, Andy?
Pretty good. Nothing crazy to report for my hockey. Just very, very low volume. I mean, yes, we only had one play, and it was only a 1%er. Came up just short on Heiskanen under shots on goal. But there are a lot more games today, and looking forward to there's a lot more bets that I like today than I did yesterday. So I feel much better about the slate. And I got to say, Andrew, you give us the shows that they're the games that we're going to go over. And I don't see the Ducks and Blue Jackets anywhere on the list of featured games to break down. So I got to ask, what's the deal? What's going on here, guys?
Yeah, I know. I think anybody just really got the hint with what to do with those games. It's pretty much the blueprint is there as far as the Anaheim Ducks games are concerned. They pretty much know what's going to happen. Bet shots on goal props against Anaheim and bet the puck line against Anaheim, and you can pay for your kids' college fund. It's what it seems like anyway, but maybe it isn't always that easy. But the Anaheim Ducks are having a really, really tough time. I mean, when you're losing tough games to the teams like Philadelphia, they're pretty much, big underdogs against everybody, right? And how it seems like. So, it's funny you say that, though, because sometimes I do want to pick, and Carm does a lot of the picking here with these games. I do want to pick some more lopsided games because I just like a total on it or whatever, but we always try and pick close games. So today with the Wild, Hurricanes, Bruins, Rangers, Jets, Maple Leafs, and the night game here with the Lightning and the Edmonton Oilers. Just want to remind all of you guys out there about that NHL package. It's $2.99. That's only for a limited time. That will go away and we'll go back to regular price very, very soon. So check that out at wagertalk.com. It's applicable for Andy, Bryan, and myself, and anybody that handicaps the NHL. And of course, it includes the playoffs. And as you guys know, I mean, the playoffs is really, really long in the NHL. There's lots of different games. You can give out futures, props, all kinds of good stuff there as well. And it's Customer Appreciation Day over at Wagertalk. So every single play that you go to buy today, 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever it may be, listed at $11. So check that out, guys. If you ever wanted to check out what it's like to buy a pick from somebody, how somebody writes their analysis, or really just want to get their best bet, today might be a good day for it. Let's get into the first game here with Minnesota and Carolina. Bryan, we'll start with you with your thoughts on this one. We've got Carolina minus 170, Minnesota plus 145, total at 5.5. And I'll tell you what, just really quick about these 5.5s. I said this a month ago. I will never again bet a 5.5 over. I mean, I did it 3 times in a row, and now every single time I see a 5.5, I know it's going under. And we saw it again yesterday. These 5.5s are low for a reason. But Carolina's very rested here. Bryan, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, to touch on what Andy talked about, where you were not talking about the poor teams. If you were a Columbus Blue Jacket fan, you're probably still holding your breath waiting for us to go over one of their games, because I don't remember ever talking about them on this show, because they've been so struggling. They've been struggling so much, and they have the injuries, and it's a shame actually being from Ohio that we don't get to talk about them. But still, yeah, we seem to be on the same teams all the time. He does let you talk about Montreal, since you and Buster are both Montreal fans. True. But for the most part, if you're Anaheim, you're Chicago, you're Columbus, you're not getting much press. Yeah, a lot of good games today, and this was one of them I was considering myself. I haven't put it up yet. Kind of like Carolina here. I think the line's a little bit cheap. When you take a look at the expected goals, we've got Minnesota for the month down 0.20, and we've got Carolina up 1.43, although a lot of that Carolina damage was done earlier in the last month. They haven't played nearly as well as of late. But from a talent standpoint, I like Carolina a lot better than I like Minnesota. You take a look at the schedule here for Minnesota. This will be, they're in the midst of playing 6 of 7 games on the road, just coming off of a win at Washington, a team that's struggling. Right before that, they played Arizona, was able to beat them 2-1. We know who Arizona is. They beat the Islanders 3-1 on the road. So they're winning, but they're winning against teams that really are not very good or not playing well. And Carolina right now is a really step up for them, the way they've been playing. Carolina's a team not playing like they were, a month ago, but still, this is a team who was coming off of a loss to Vancouver in a shootout on Sunday and haven't played since. And that game was at home. The game before that was at home. So they're well rested. They've had the last 3 days off. They play the Islanders on Saturday, and then they get another 3 days off. So you got to figure this is the game that Carolina is really shooting for right here. The line's fair. I may end up with this on my card, but as of right now, I'm leaning with Carolina.
Looking towards Carolina, and hard to blame you there with how well rested they are. And I think they'll come in very focused in this game, especially the fact that they are off that tough loss. And you look at their last 10 games, it hasn't really been great for them. Minnesota should come in feeling good about themselves. However, like you mentioned, they aren't really defeating the greatest teams in the league by any means, that's for sure. But they are still minus 170 tonight. Andy, in this game, I had a prop on Matt Boldy for Minnesota's last game. That one did fall short. That was a free play, but he's definitely someone shooting the puck quite a bit, and Kaprizov's numbers just got so inflated. He's trying to find some new people. What do you like here in this game?
It's funny you mentioned that. I have a note here to not be shy about going back to Boldy. A lot of people had him over 2.5 shots on goal. He was on a really, really nice run cashing this prop, and he came up short. He only had 1 shot on goal, but don't forget to look at your missed shots. He had 3 missed shots. So it wasn't like he just wasn't shooting. He just wasn't very accurate. Now you're getting the line at 2.5 shots on goal at minus 115. Seems fair to me. Fair number, fair price. These guys aren't going to go over their shots on goal every single time, but he's getting plenty of opportunity. I wouldn't be scared to go back to him. I'm actually looking at the Hurricanes under 3.5 on their team total. I look at them and I see a team that's kind of in a bit of a slump with their scoring here. The last game they went over this was only against Columbus. So, they had 3 against Vancouver, 2 against Pittsburgh, and then 3, a lot of games in the Wild, kind of playing good defense over the last 3 games, held their opponents to 2-1-1. They're not nearly as rested, but they do have at least 1 day's rest. So Hurricanes not scoring a ton of these goals, in Minnesota on a nice 3-game defensive run. So I'd look at Hurricanes under the goals and Boldy. I'd go back to Boldy over his shots.
I think in general, I would look towards the full game under. I like your thoughts on that. I think that this could be a defensive game. I think a well-rested Carolina team playing the way that they want to play and the way their coach preaches is a real defensive style of hockey. I mean, let's be honest, Carolina, if you want to watch a really exciting hockey game, Carolina usually isn't that team for you, right? But they're also, past 4 or 5 years, one of the best teams in the league for a reason. That's just how they play hockey. And Minnesota has a great goaltender as well, and they can play some good defense. So I look towards the full game under as well, despite it just being a 5.5 total. Brent Burns, also a good guy for shots on goal props. We always talk about those defensemen. He's someone that's worth a look usually here. Let's get into the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. Always a good matchup when these two teams go head-to-head here. And look at the price. It's going to be a tight one. We got minus 110 on both sides here. Total, once again, another 5.5 here, guys, in this one. Puck line, minus 1.5, plus 230 for the New York Rangers. If anybody wants to get crazy with that, they're not really feeling the money line, get crazy with the puck line here, but should be a good game. We obviously have some interesting schedule situations, but Andy, anything catch your eye in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just playing these streaks, and Boston's basically on a streak for the entire year. How many times are you going to get Boston at that price just to win?
Yeah.
How many times are you ever going to get the Bruins? They've won every second game of a back-to-back this season. They're just so deep. Betting on them has been a cash cow. It probably is going to be the foreseeable future unless they have, some injuries or something. 5 of their last 6 wins have been by the puck line. So I look at this and I just say, wow, what a bargain you're getting on Boston at almost even just to win straight up. As far as a prop goes, I mean, can't wait for David Pastrnak in the playoffs for props. I haven't played many of his, but he's gone under 4.5 shots on goal in 3 games in a row. I think he's due for a big game. He's only had a streak of 3 unders one other time this season. So it's kind of one of those, you're just waiting for the game where Pastrnak has like 9 shots and, 7 of them are on goal. This game could be close. I think the Bruins win. I'm going to play it just because I think you're not going to get Boston at this price too many times, and I'll take Pastrnak over his shots on goal.
Looking at Pasta, and it might be a really good game for that. We do have Patrice Bergeron listed as questionable, I think, for tonight. No Jake DeBrusk. So we talk about it in the NBA, Andy. You talked about that with me on the phone a couple days ago. But when a player is out, it opens up those doors for the other guy. And that could be a really good opportunity today for that. If there is no Bergeron, there's no DeBrusk there for Pasta to have a really big game. Brian, the odds makers are telling us this is going to be a very competitive one. What do you think here?
Yeah, it is. And I originally looked at it like Andy did. I said, how do you not play Boston in this situation, in this price range? It is their 3rd game in 4 days, but the 2 games they played prior to this, they beat Philadelphia by 6 and the Islanders by 3. So not real high stress games, but it's still 3rd game in 4 days in that regard. The Rangers have played pretty well over the years against Boston. They're the one team that matches up pretty well with them. They are coming off a win at Columbus in the second of a back-to-back after losing to Montreal on Sunday. They have had the last 2 days off. They've got the next 3 days off after that. So you're going to get the full effort out of the Rangers here against a Boston team who could be a little tired, but I'm not going to step in front of this Boston squad. If you're able to win the second of a back-to-back, like Andy said, in fact, I believe Boston's now 9-0 on this season after a loss. They didn't lose last game out, but still, that tells you how strong this team bounces back in a rough situation. Lean Boston here. The schedule has me pointed towards the Rangers, but I won't get there with Boston. But it's if you like teams that find ways to win, This is a cheap price to do it.
And you talk about finding ways to win. I mean, this Boston Bruins team, they must lead the league in third period goals or something, or at least comeback victories. Because what I think is most impressive is that really all of their wins haven't been just walk in the parks, right, guys? I mean, a lot of them have been down 2-1 the third period, down 3-2, and they have to come back and they find a way to win. You know, both you guys said it here. They got the back-to-back. Sure, that's a little bit of a something to worry about, but when you are the Boston Bruins, when you're to the team that's clearly going to win the President's Trophy this year, this price, it does seem like it's pretty generous towards the Bees, really, guys, honestly. I mean, and also I want to mention this as well. As great as Allmark has been this season for the Boston Bruins, guys, I don't think Swayman has been that much worse. I mean, he's 10-3-2 with a 2.35 goals against average. He's expected to go tonight for the Bruins. I think he's been pretty good as well. You know, I talked about with the 5.5s going under. I still think we could see an under again here, despite that back-to-back. And one more guy I was going to look at for shots on goal tonight. He's not really running hot as far as his number, but Taylor Hall. He's someone you get a 2.5 with. There's lots of 3.5s out there for shots on goal these days, even some 4.5s with guys. But Taylor Hall, he's not right up there in the top line or anything, so you can get 2.5 with his shots on goal. And I think it's a pretty good idea to take a look at him tonight, especially on the back-to-back. I feel like on back-to-backs, I like looking towards depth players because I think you might get more opportunities for them, more ice time for them compared to the top guys. But should be a real good game. I think the guys here are leaning towards the Bees and a couple props as well. Let's get into a game that should be a really good one here with the Winnipeg Jets, Toronto Maple Leafs, especially, Brian, because guess who the Winnipeg Jets are off a loss against? My Montreal Canadiens. They always show up for these games. They might be dead last in the league most of the time, but they show up for games like that. Winnipeg plus 145, Toronto minus 170, total at 6.5 here. What are your thoughts here as the Jets visit Maple Leafs?
There's a few bad teams in the league, but Montreal has the ability to come up and bite anybody at any time. We've seen that. I think a lot of these teams out of the Eastern Conference just take them for granted in that regard. And how many times are we going to see that out of when they play Toronto or Arizona plays these teams? I mean, you've got to come every night in the NHL. Teams can win any night. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. I like this Winnipeg team. But when you take a look at what they've done as of late, here's what they've done since the 8th. They played Vancouver. They played Detroit. They played Buffalo. They played a Pittsburgh team who's struggling. Buffalo struggling also at the time. They play Arizona. They play Montreal. Now they step up and play Toronto. So this is a situation where they played well. They have done well. I'll give them that. But they played it that way against weaker teams. Big step up here against Toronto. If you take a look, expected goals over the last month, Toronto's about 0.4 expected goals better per game. Toronto is a team I want to bet on when they play good teams, when they play quality teams. And Winnipeg is one of those teams. Want no part of Toronto when they step down and play lesser competition, and we've known that for years, and it's happening again this year. I like the Toronto side here. I think the line is fair. It's a situation for myself where it would be Toronto or nothing. And when we take a look at the Toronto schedule, they just played Florida at home. They had to win that game in overtime. Before that, they'd lost to Detroit and Boston. So they're not coming into this as if they're playing really well. In fact, the game before that, they had to beat Nashville at home 2-1. So we got a struggling Toronto team here playing a team in Winnipeg before they head out to Montreal on the weekend here on Saturday. You're going to get a good effort. I think they're going to get one of the best efforts we've seen out of Toronto this season. I'll lay it with Toronto in this game.
All right, Brian, looking towards the Maple Leafs here playing at home. And I think one thing we can all agree on is that I know there's 82 games, but certain teams have games circled. Players have games they're thinking about. And this is a game that I think both clubs were well aware was happening here tonight on a Thursday. Really, really, solid teams and probably the two of the best teams in Canada right now. Oilers are playing pretty well, though, as well. But we'll see what happens in this game. But I'm going to cover this game in my best bet. So, Andy, go over to you. I got to ask you, in games like this, obviously it's minus 170. So I guess I'm saying it's a good, competitive game, but the odds makers might not even think so. But when you handicap props and stuff like that, is it any type of different handicap when you're looking at games that are expected to be very close compared to games that are maybe like a minus 300?
Yeah, I like to take player shots on goal if the game is going to be close. I don't like, blowouts can be bad because if a team gets up, then you're going to see secondary guys getting a ton of shots on goal. So yeah, if I'm playing shots on goal, I definitely want to see it high scoring. It's kind of similar to NBA when, if you're looking at overs, you always got to look at pace of play. You don't want to have player overs when the two lowest pace of play teams are playing. So it does kind of correlate. That being said, I find the Maple Leafs very difficult to bet props on. They're kind of scattered and all over the board. I mean, a perfect example, Mitch Marner has 0 shots but 4 assists in his last 2 games. Then the game before, no points and 3 shots. Like there's it's kind of all over the board, and with that much volatility, I just stay away. There's plenty of other props to go to. Andrew, I believe you were on this one. Were you on Dubois over 2.5 shots on goal the last game? I mean, just a brutal loss. 2 shots on goal in the first 10 minutes. The rest of the game, 3 missed shots and no shots on goal. So he goes under. Like, imagine if you had the under. You just sweat that out and you somehow end up with a win. I'm going back to him. He's 8-2, going over his shots on goal the last 10. I'm going to play him again today. I'm not scared to come back to him. Just a really unlucky, tough beat. I mean, I actually turned it off. I saw he had 2 shots in the first 10 minutes, and I said, okay, we got this one in the bag. Silly me. But that's the only one I have for this game, is I tend to stay away from the Maple Leafs.
And the crazy part about that one, Andy, was that they were down 4-1. I mean, that's like what we probably would have wanted. Get on the ice, put your better players in the ice, and shoot the puck. Like, if they were up 4-1, I wouldn't be as mad about losing it. I was like, okay, whatever. Like you said, maybe they're going to play the third line more, the fourth line, and blowouts. But they were the team getting blown out. They were the team down 3 goals, and we couldn't get one more shot there. But you are right about the Maple Leafs. They're a tough team to look at from the prop standpoint. But it goes to show, I mean, it's just like, it seems like between their 4 star players, one of them just seems to have a great night. You just had to pick which one it's going to be. Like, you got to just figure out Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews, which guy is it going to be tonight? And if you do, usually you can catch those over 1.5 point props and stuff like that. But let's get into the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Edmonton Oilers. Guys, these are 2 teams right now playing some really good hockey. If you want to talk about scheduling, obviously I think you could say that Edmonton has probably played some tougher games. Sort of, I guess. Might be a little bit of a mix, really. Both teams have played a little bit of weaker competition, and I guess when you say Edmonton has played Anaheim and San Jose, I can't really say those are tough opponents. But they are plus 105, Edmonton minus 125, total at 6.5 here in this one. And realistically, as we approach this game, we take a look at how many overs we've seen hit for Edmonton. I mean, we saw a 6-3 loss against LA. They defeat Anaheim 6-2, San Jose 7-1, Vegas 4-3, Seattle 5-2. And of course, this Tampa Bay team right now, they played just yesterday. They are no strangers to scoring right now, Brian. 5-2, 4-1, 4-2, 5-4, 6-3. I mean, I'm calling out these scores here. It's shaded towards the over. I know you aren't really a totals better as much as sides, but it seems like when the Oilers are playing their best hockey, they have to be involved in high-scoring games. What do you think here in this one?
Yeah, I think when the Oilers are playing well, I think it's a correlated parlay. You play the Oilers and you play the over. Either that or you play the Oilers team total over, as you've done very well with these team totals. Tampa Bay is in the midst of a 5-game road trip. They go to St. Louis, win 4-2. Go to Seattle, win 4-1. Go to Vancouver, win 5-2. Playing very well. The only problem is that Vancouver game was yesterday, and this brings up a second of a back-to-back. And we've talked about this with Tampa Bay. They're about a 500 team when they play in the second of a back-to-back. And you've got to think from a standpoint of toughness of the games. The way they play Calgary to end the trip on Saturday, and Calgary's playing pretty well, but Calgary's been up and down just like the Edmonton's been. But Edmonton right now, I think, is playing the better hockey. So if you're Tampa, do you come out and go full effort in this game, even though you played yesterday, and say, okay, we're going to go for this one, and then we'll deal with it after it happens? Or do you think that since the Calgary game will be the third game in 4 days, and if you give it all today and you don't come out with the victory, you leave your team a little bit short when you play Calgary on Saturday? I kind of like the Oilers here. From an expected goal standpoint, these teams are virtually equal over the last month. Edmonton's very good at home. Hate to back Edmonton because they're very, very up and down when it comes to the way they play, but they're playing really well right now, and you just got to expect them to continue on here. They've got the rest advantage here in this game. So kind of like Edmonton, probably won't get involved, but I do like that total. I'm not a totals guy, but I think there are going to be some goals in this one.
I think that in a game like this, like you mentioned, Brian, home versus road has to be accounted for, especially the way Tampa Bay has been winning their games, the way they've been playing. And honestly, is it a good thing that Vancouver's off a blowout victory? I mean, they didn't get tested. Like Andy, they didn't go into overtime. They might not be tired. One thing I'm disappointed in, and I'm sure you're aware of this stuff here with like milestones and players trying to achieve things there. I really was going to jump in on Stamkos yesterday on shots or goals, and I just kind of backed out last minute. Of course, yesterday's the day that he gets all his shots and he gets a goal, and I wasn't involved, but breaking franchise records and stuff like that for him. But Tampa Bay and Edmonton are two great teams as far as props are concerned, especially with their top guys. What do you have for us tonight, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, Connor McDavid over shots on goal. I got to feel like, hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. By the way, Connor McDavid likes to shoot the puck, like Captain Obvious here. But listen, it's a play that's only at 3.5, and he's had 4, 8, 5, 8, 4, 4, 3, 6 this month. So he's been shooting the puck, and they're still leaving it at 3.5. I think you can still take advantage of it. And because I felt bad about only talking about Connor McDavid, I've got an obscure one here for you guys. Darnell Nurse to not have a point. He has 1 point this month. just a point.
How about that contract? Ooh, man, that contract.
So I mean, you look at it. I mean, this play just keeps hitting night after night after night. It's a little bit juicy, but we talked about juice tolerance, and when some of these plays are just hitting at these astronomical rates, it doesn't matter what the juice is. And Darnell Nurse is not putting up points. This play is he's only had a point in 2 games since the 21st of December. So you're cashing this night after night after night. So I'd keep riding Darnell Nurse to not have a point.
Wow, that is crazy. This month, people are hating on his contract. I think that might be a little bit of a reason why they're talking about that. His shots on goal prop, the funny thing is, Andy, he doesn't score. None of his shots get deflected, but he loves shooting at chest protectors. He loves shooting into the gloves of goalies. It's good. It's good for props, when he shoots the puck. One guy I had my eye on for today, and this one was Evander Kane. Guys, he played his first game back after a really scary incident of getting caught by a blade, and he had 7 shots on goal in his first game. He's like, yeah, guys, I'm back. All right, I'm back here. I want to shoot. I miss playing hockey. I'm back. He didn't get a point, though, and the irony is his number is 3.5 for shots on goal, but you can get like minus 135, 140 for the guy to just get a point. So it's kind of funny to me when you see, I think anybody that has 3.5 as their shots on goal number should probably be a lot more favored just to get a point. That probably means they're usually pretty involved in the offense, but they don't think so. So I think Evander Kane to get a point's a pretty good look here, but he's coming off 7 shots. I mean, did none of his shot attempts get blocked? Did they all just find the net? That's pretty impressive for a guy to get that many. But I would lean towards the home team as well. I think Edmonton rolls, and I think that it's definitely a factor that Tampa Bay is on the road here in this one. So, guys, once again, every single play at Wagertalk today, just $11. And, it's awesome because there's lots of different things going on for today. We've got multiple sports. We've got so many different handicappers at the website. And guys, none of us compete. We're all cheering each other on. I want these guys to do well. They want all of us to do well. And I want you guys to go try a new handicapper today. Try someone you've never purchased from before. See how they are. See how their write-ups are. See what kind of sports they do. And I think the day passes are really nice as well. I'm sure these guys would agree with me that I love when people join me for day passes because, if you have a 5% pick, it's like $4 more and you're going to get every single play. So not just that 5%, but all the 2%. And, for me, Australian Open, coming off another great night in tennis last night. And, all of these aren't being made into packages, but they're for the all access clients, bankroll builders. If we have a 1% play, that 1% play, it probably isn't getting a package made for it, but the all access guys are getting those. And also, Brian, we talked about it, that $2.99 package for the NHL. It's a great deal. You've done very well the past several years in hockey. So, guys, check out Brian over at Wagertalk.com. But what do you have posted right now? Anything up for you right now, Brian? And what's your best bet for the show?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I've got 3 plays up right now. I may add another 1 or 2 in hockey because I do like this card. Excuse me. And I got them all under $11 package. So even if I add more plays later on today, you'll still get those plays. I'm also going to put up 4 college basketball plays just a little earlier in the morning right now, but I'll have those up for you, and that's going to be another $11 package. So real good day to buy plays, and it's, as Andy talked about, this is a really good schedule today in all sports. I think a very profitable day. Did lose yesterday, but looking for a bounce back. And you mentioned, not putting up all the plays. Day before I went 6-1, but I only sold 1 play. So everybody who signed up for the long time packages were able to get all those. I'm going to take a look at a game out west here. This all comes down to a scheduling situation for me, and that's Dallas at Los Angeles. Dallas played last night, and I talked about the quickest way to make money in betting, live betting, is to fade San Jose. They played Dallas yesterday. Dallas gets the lead. All of a sudden, San Jose comes back. And I think it was a little bit telling that San Jose was able to not only win, but increase that probably off of an easy goal at the end, but still 5-3. So Dallas had a game last night. Then got to go to Los Angeles now. I went back. Dallas is now playing in their 13th straight game in a different city. Yeah, they played in Dallas. They have a 1-game stand in Dallas. Then they go on the road, play somewhere else, come back later, a 1-game stand. That's tough to do. And if you're playing in the second of a back-to-back in that situation, after playing in San Jose last night, that's not a team that's going to be fresh tonight. They return home for an 8-game homestand after this, and we all know we got the break coming up. So these guys may be looking forward to coming back home in that regard. Where we find Los Angeles, the Kings have played 1 game on the road all month. That was the 5-1 blowout in Vegas. I was at that game. They dominated the Golden Knights in that game. That's 8 out of 9 games they played at home. They're very rested. Their last time out, they lost to the Devils 5-2. So they're coming off a loss. They've had the last 4 days to stew about it, playing a team, playing the second of back-to-back at the end of a road trip. This line's cheap. If you'd like to look at the expected goals for the last month, these teams are about equal. LA's been very good at home, and the spot really shines for the Kings here. I like the LA Kings. That's one of my plays for tonight, and we're using it as our best bet on the show today.
Great stuff there, Brian. I'm right there with you. And again, guys, $11 for every single play Brian releases. Go to wagertalk.com. Get a big package up there. Everything he releases today will be tossed in that package. And if you like scheduling spots, well, you probably will like Brian's best bet there. Great stuff, Brian. Andy, we've got a lot of stuff going on in the world of sports this week, including a big UFC card this Saturday, which I'm pretty excited about. What do you have going tonight, this week, and what's your best bet for today?
Today's a pretty light card. I don't know if we'll have any NBA. I'll just put up a couple of 1% plays in the NHL. What do I recommend to people? Well, I have 2 5% plays up, and you can get them both at a discount today. One's in NFL. We've been lights out on these 5% NFL plays, 18-8 this season. And then we got a 5% UFC play that is up. We're 8-1 in UFC over the last 9 plays. We started off the year 2-0 at the first event. So I'm seeing those sports really well. And I can tell you those have been the most profitable ways to take advantage of my plays right now. So at a discount, you can go grab both of those today. My best bet, you shunned the Ducks and the Blue Jackets. Therefore, I had to make them part of my best bet. So I'm gonna go with the same game parlay. I'm gonna take the Ducks under 3.5 goals. I'm gonna take the Blue Jackets over 1.5 goals. The Ducks have played 45 games. They've gone under this total in 33 of them, including 12 out of 13 and 5 straight. How's their defense? Well, in their last 5 games, they've given up 28 goals. They've only held a team under 2 goals on the road once. That was in October. And of all teams, it was to Boston. And yet they lost that game. It's an incredible team that they can do that. Blue Jackets, obviously not an offensive juggernaut. They've gone under the last couple games, but this is the Ducks that we're talking about. So as long as I can keep getting this Ducks under 3.5 team total at juice, I'll parlay it with the other team over 1.5 goals. It looks like it's going to be a winning strategy moving forward. So same game parlay, Ducks under 3.5 team total, Blue Jackets over 1.5.
Awesome stuff, Andy. Hey, we got to show some love to every game on the board. We got to find some winners every way there. And I think any team total under, prop under, points under, anything under with the Anaheim Ducks is probably a good call. So, guys, check out Andy at wagertalk.com, of course, at a 5% UFC play up there. It's going to be a fun card. Andy, I also have a 5% play going. I'm pumped up for this card. I had this one ready for a little while. So it's nice when you have a play, you're kind of just eyeing, waiting for the card, and then you put it out. So I'm pumped up for the card here, UFC. You guys can check that out at wagertalk.com as well. Got a big play going tonight in hockey as well. And for my best bet here in the show, I didn't talk about this game because I wanted to circle back to it. We're going to the Winnipeg Jets, Toronto Maple Leafs here, going under 6.5. You take a look at this Jets team. They've gone under in 14 of their last 17 games, 9 of their last 10 games on the road. And this Maple Leafs team is off just a track meet style of hockey game. It was off a goal fest against the Florida Panthers, something that they've tried to get away from. Their identity this year is not as much like that. I believe we'll see a much better defensive game. I think we'll see much better goaltending today. And this game, I think, means a lot to both clubs. So we're going to see lots of cautiousness and I think a little bit of conservativeness to start this game. And hopefully that bodes well for an under here, Winnipeg and Toronto. Once again, guys, that NHL package, $299. Use that for Andy. Use that for Brian, myself, Carmine as well. Recapping these best bets, the same game parlay here for Andy. Anaheim team total under 3.5. Comboed with Columbus team total over 1.5 goals. Brian Leonard with Los Angeles, the Kings here minus 125, and I have the Jets and Leafs under 6.5 minus 120. Thanks so much to Andy and Brian for joining me here today, and all of you guys for watching us here on Wagertalk TV. We appreciate you guys. Wagertalk today is coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern, and other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
June 2014, Wagertalk joined Twitter. August 2014, Prez loaded the first ever picks at Wagertalk. September 2014, Marco D'Angelo and Gianni the Greek filmed the first ever video for Wagertalk TV. Fast forward to today, and we now have over 58,000 Twitter followers, 110,000 subscribers on YouTube, and have become the premier brand in sports betting. So thank you. We truly appreciate everyone who has supported this amazing journey. And on Thursday, January 19th, at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, all daily picks packages that day will be priced at $11, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $35. And all one-day all access, normally priced at $39, will be cut in half and priced at only $19. No coupons will be needed. All handicappers at both Wagertalk and Sports Memo are included in Customer Appreciation Day. And discounts will go live at midnight, Wednesday, January 18th.